गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे We have in Amrutanubhava Chapter 7, OV number 263.
63.
How the self is not affected in any way by manifestation or absence of manifestation, that is the topic going on. And for that, it was told, even though many waves break, the ocean does not cross its boundary, nor does its being water change. Another example was taken: the rays belong to the sun, but go away from the sun. Therefore, it is not a proper simile for the consciousness. Again, another example is taken now. आणि पळहेचा दोडा न पडता तडा जग तव का पडा न भरेची की. The fruit of cotton breaks open on ripening, from which the cotton is used for making cloth. But the cotton contained within its fruit cannot be compared to the self, who manifests without creating duality. Why these two examples, such examples are being taken? So that we don't create a concept in our mind how the creation has come out of the self. That is why. When the cotton fruit is ripe, it cracks open and the cotton comes out, which is then used to make cloth. Can it be imagined that the cotton pod does not open and still its cotton is able to clothe the entire universe? Only then it can be compared to the Paramatma, who does not change and yet permeates the total names and forms by his being. So there cotton comes out. That example is taken, that cotton comes out, from the cotton cloth is made, and then people cover themselves. But here, without coming out, if it could not come out and yet clothe the universe, then it can be compared to the self. When the picture is reflected in the mirror, although the mirror is only a few millimeters thick, yet one can see both the distance and the depth reflected in the mirror. There is depth without creating depth, there is distance without creating distance, and in this way contemplate upon the self. Therefore, when they say it is an experienceless experience, depthless depth, distanceless distance, and time, space, and objectivity, they are conditionings. They cannot, they are the conditionings on the self. Anything spoken, narrated with these conditionings cannot be the self. Self is beyond. Self is supporting these three, but it is beyond these three. In the same way, now he's taking it subjective. In the same way, everything is in me. The supreme self that I am. The gross body is the object of knowledge for the mind, which is its container, substratum. So again, this example which we have seen before, that the gross space which is the container of the entire known universe, it is a it is contained, that space, the outside space is contained within the mental space. And then, just like the outside space becomes the container for the total known universe, similarly, the mental space becomes the container to include the gross space. See? Then going one step back, and the mental space is included in the conscious space. So, here when he says that the gross body is an object of knowledge, what is our understanding is totally inverted. What are we seeing? We think we are the body, we are a product of this universe, the mind is inside the body, and the self is somewhere inside, deep inside.
In the
Look
cave.
inside. But the truth is exactly the opposite. The body is a concept of the mind, not that the mind is inside the body. See? The gross body is the object of knowledge for the mind, which is its container. When the shackles of the Annamaya Kosha are broken and one comes to the level of the Manomaya Kosha, I, the illuminator of the thoughts in the mind, is the one, because of which the thoughts exist. So again it comes to Aham Vritti and Idam Vritti, I thought and the that thought. That thoughts, the Idam Vrittis exist because of the I thought. If there is no knower, Sakshi, thoughts can have no existence. So, which are the thoughts? There are two categories of thoughts. What are the two categories of thoughts? One is the I thought, and the other is the that thought. And this continuous interaction between the two keeps erupting within the mind. Do you know all the thoughts that are appearing in your mind? Yes. It cannot be any other way. But whom do we consider? We don't consider ourselves to be the knower of the thoughts or the witness of the thoughts. We consider ourselves to be the I with respect to the thought. That I consider myself to be the I thought rather than the witnessing I. And that's where we are making the mistake. Therefore, the Sakshi is the substratum of the mind. See, the thoughts cannot exist without the self. Whether it is I thought or whether it is that thought, this dichromatization of the consciousness happens only when it passes through the mind. And when it passes through the mind, the I thought appears in the intellect and the that thought appears in the mind, if we take it that way. I said when the consciousness, just like light passing through prism becomes the 7 colors, similarly consciousness passing through the mind becomes the I thought in the intellect and the that thought in the mind. These are just technical names given to it. But without the consciousness, pure consciousness, I thought as well as that thought is not possible. A dead man does not have a I thought or a that thought. Therefore, the Sakshi is the substratum of the mind, the gross, and that Sakshi, that witness, I am, recognize. The gross body constitutes the content for the objective aspect of the mind, and this objective aspect is contained in the aham vritti of the mind. The gross body constitutes the content for the objective aspect of the mind, and this objective aspect is contained in the aham vritti of the mind. When the subjective aspect of the mind, the sakshi, is not influenced by the subjective aspect of the mind gets quietened. So this we have seen. Where we have seen this? We have seen this in Vedanta Dindima. We have seen this in Upadesh Sahasri. That when the I is not affected by any, does not get identified with any idam vritti, any that thought, both the I thought and the that thoughts are known that to exist by the witnessing consciousness. This witnessing consciousness reveals itself, or it is always there. It is always there, but it is, you can recognize yourself to be that only when we are undisturbed by the thoughts. In Bhagavad Gita it comes as maintain an equanimous mind. Only by maintaining equanimous mind can the, the witnessing which is continuously going on, it becomes revealed. When the subjective aspect of the mind, the sakshi, is not influenced by the objective aspect of the mind, meaning this sakshi, this witnessing consciousness, is not affected by the I thought or the that thought, or in other words, any thought. You are totally unattached to the thoughts. The mind gets quietened. And for this, what do we have to do? What sadhana can we do? All we have to do is keep coming back to the self. Keep coming back to the self. Don't give too much value to the world. Don't give too much value to the thoughts. Don't give too much value to the things, emotions that are going on in the mind, thoughts that are going on in the mind. They may seem to be very important, very real. It demands immediate action, etc., etc. But remain, take a chill pill and keep quiet. Watch, watch, remain in that watchful mode. Alertly watch, keep watching without creating an association with the thought. Then alone the mind will dissolve itself. Just like when we go to sleep, we are alertly watching, we know all the thoughts that are appearing in the mind. But where is our attention? Our attention is on the sleep. And therefore, because our attention is on the sleep, in spite of the onslaught of the thoughts, we do not get attached to the thoughts because we are attached to the sleep. Therefore, the mind dissolves and we glide into sleep. Same thing, do it on the seat of meditation. Be aware of the self and don't give value to the thoughts. Eventually the mind will dissolve and you will remain. At this stage, the aham vritti turns on itself. The state is called unmani avastha. When the contents of the thoughts are changing, there is an appearance of movement in the mind from thought to thought. See, even in Jnaneshwari, in one chapter before, it told you when the speech moves. What is speech? Another definition of speech, way to look at speech is grossified mind. So in the mind we have thoughts, grossified thoughts is the speech. So it becomes a sadhana. And what is the sadhana? Vaikari madhyama pashyanti para. And as the sound is becoming purified more and more and more and more by chanting the name of the Lord or chanting Om, etc., eventually you come to that point where you are watching that The thoughts are appearing, staying for some time and disappearing. Again the next thought appears. Which is that thought? That thought is the mantra that you have taken. Then even this I am chanting, which began here, that also goes away, that I am chanting. But that will only happen when the sound migrates from the throat to the heart. There you will come to realize, array, so that means I am not. Then the question comes, then who am I? You are watching the appearance of the thought in the mind and the disappearance of the going away of the thought. So you are a witness, isn't it? If you are watching it. See? The same thing here. When the I thought, the witnessing consciousness and the I thought, is there any difference? I'm asking. Is there a difference between witnessing consciousness and the I thought? There is. In one sense, they are both the same, but in another sense, witnessing consciousness is not a thought. It just is. See? Then what is I thought? I thought is that which appears only on account of that thought. That thought cannot appear by itself.
What is the attention then? Where does that come into it?
Attention is not, right now, it is only the I thought which is giving attention. Only the I. You consider yourself to be the I, you are giving the attention. And the more we give attention to this I, eventually all the idam vrittis will dissolve, or because you are not giving them value and attention. Then what happens? This I which is left alone, I thought, when the last thought, idam vritti, goes away, now what will happen to the I? I thought, it as if starts looking at itself. It falls back upon itself. So while this was going on, you are the I, you are watching that you are actually this one, but you are considering yourself to be this one, and you are watching that these are the thoughts that are coming. And now initially you were attached to them, now you are detached to them, they eventually go away. Imagine the last one is going away, then what will happen to this I? It will fall back into itself. And when this happens, that is the point where we are at this moment. When the contents of the thoughts are changing, there is an appearance of movement in the mind from thought to thought. So what are the contents of the mind changing mind? Changing in the mind? The contents are the thoughts. So because thoughts are going from one after the other, thoughts are coming, we feel there is movement. What is movement? Movement is a sequence. And that sequence creates time, isn't it? And where is this sequence of the thoughts? In the mind. See? And the time began from the first sequence. When the vritti is niradhara, without any support of an object, and nirvikara, that is, there is no content, then the knower-known aspect of the mind gets amalgamated to oneness. This is the Unmani state. This is the Unmani state. Because now this I thought has got nothing to associate it with. So its existence is not required as a thought. I does not need to remain as a thought, isn't it? Then what will this I thought do? It goes back to its source. This is what the sound is also doing, going back to its source. Thus, The cotton in the unbroken cotton fruit providing cloth for the whole world could be a simile to indicate that the Paramatma is himself the manifestation. Why this example is now, what example was given and now how it is being put is totally different. Cotton, which is in the fruit, without coming out, has become cloth to clothe the whole world. Now don't think of this cloth only. Now think of the cotton as the eye. That eye, without coming out, has taken on the whole, has permeated the whole world. This, the cotton fruit is this body, mind, intellect, and inside it is this cotton, which is the self. Without coming out, yet it has enveloped the whole world. And when this happens in our experience on the seat of meditation, then all duality in the mind becomes homogenized. All the differences end in the mind. See? And when this, all the duality goes away, then what is left behind? A homogeneous mass of consciousness. And that homogeneous mass of consciousness is none other than you. In deep sleep, homogeneous mass of consciousness is there because mind is not there, but there is a veiling. But in this case, you alone are. There is nothing else to apprehend. There is nothing else to associate with. There is no content in the mind for the I thought to appear. I thought appears, in other words, I should say it this way, I as a thought appears only with respect to something. But now mind is empty. Then I doesn't need to remain a thought. But I still, see?
Is it the mind eye that creates the duality?
Correct. Mind, it is a phenomena, it happens. Mind is,
You know, in pure self, no duality, but what causes the duality here?
it happens.
It just happens.
It just happens. There is no cause. We have to get out of cause and effect. It is a phenomena. What causes the sunrise and the sunset? Sun doesn't create the sunrise and the sunset. Earth doesn't create sunrise and the sunset. It is certain conditions coming together which give you the illusion of sunrise and sunset, isn't it?
Mm.
It is certain conditions which give you the illusion of seeing a rainbow in the sky. Every time you don't see the rainbow, what is the cause? You cannot come out with 100%. This is what is happening. You saying
Accepting I'm the body is the cause
of
of all the world.
yeah, you can say that. You can say that. That if you accept yourself to, because you are, that body is also a thought, no? Body is a thought. So the moment you accept means you have taken it to be the truth, you have given value to that thought called body, you have given attention to the thought called body, immediately I thought is born and the I says, I am the body. Because it's associating with that thought. And we have repeated it so many times that it becomes concretized. But really speaking, the I thought and the that thought is only a phenomena. It's just happening. It's got nothing to do with who you are. But because we listen to this statement, but we don't know how to interact with this statement now. If nothing is, oh, then who am I? And therefore then sadhana is told that remain aware of the self, let the mind dissolve. When the mind dissolves, the I thought does not have anything to call its own, to associate with, then the thought aspect of the I also dies away. Thought aspect. But the pure I remains. So it is called vritti rahit aham. Vritti rahit aham means I without the thought of I. This is I without a thought of I. It can become a thought only when it is associating himself with something. Even if it says, I am a witness, the thought has come. The subject aspect of the mind called the witness, which supports the objective aspect, is one without a second essentially. It is one without a second. The witness is one without a second. It takes the role of the I thought. The witness becomes the I thought in association with the objective thoughts. This knower, this Sakshi, Kshetrajna, is not one per head. When by the divine grace the individualization of the witness breaks away, I become one with the pure consciousness functioning in and through everyone. So, can we imagine that I am the one who is expressing through the entire universe? No. Very difficult. Then, but that is the truth. But that is the truth. Can the wave realize that I am the water which is expressing through all the waves? As a wave can never come to that conclusion. Even though the essence of the wave is nothing but water, and as water, it is pervading all the waves. But as a wave, as long as its attention is on its dimensions, as long as attention is on its form, it can never come to that conclusion. Similarly is our case also. That until and unless this identity with the body, which creates body and mind, which creates individuality, until and unless this does not dissolve away in this process, wherein we come to realize ourselves to be the witness. And what happens when you are the witness? You are disconnected from the mind. You're disconnected. Nothing, you don't take anything your own. Nothing is your own. And in that, whatever the remnants in the mind are there, they also start getting dissolved. And in this way, the individual becomes one with the pure consciousness functioning in and through everyone. This functioning in and through everyone becomes a revelation. Just like you are functioning in and through all the limbs of your body. You are functioning in and through all the organs of your body. Limbs could be seen, organs cannot be seen. You are functioning in and through all the cells of your body. That can't be seen, but it is happening. Isn't it? How many times have we thought in our life till we came to Vedanta class that I am pervading in and through all the cells? Exactly the same way. It becomes a natural disposition of a person who is abiding in the self to come to realize without without any thought eruption that he is in and through the entire creation. If that person was to think, it will be his experience. To indicate the three steps, that is the gross body, the mind and the Sakshi, the simile of the cotton fruit has been used. In the cotton fruit are contained the total potentiality of all the cloth. Similarly, the pure consciousness contains within itself the multitude of trios without being separated from them. Where is this multitude of trios? This is the Pashyanti. In the gross speech, what happens? The speaker and the spoken, the I and the thought, they are separate. In the Madhyama, or I should say in this way, the thought and the object of thought are separate at the gross speech. When I say camera, the camera thought word that is erupting from my mouth and the camera in front of me, they are two separate. Thought and the what it is indicating is separate. In the madhyama, the thought and the object of the thought are thought alone. So, in the madhyama, which is like dream, the thought of camera and the camera itself, both are thoughts only. There is no object, gross object. This is the second stage, madhyama. And in the pashyanti, the thought of camera and the object of the camera both are in their unmanifest state. So, in deep sleep, the entire gross body, subtle body, causal body, intellectual, mental, everything, all your relationships, all your roles, all the thoughts, all of the world, everything is unmanifest. Potential is there, but it has not manifested. It will manifest only when you wake up, isn't it? Exactly the same way. In this pure consciousness also, the potentiality to manifest as all the trios: experiencer, experienced, experiencing, knower, known, knowing, seer, seen, seeing, hearer, heard, hearing. And continuously this trio alone can become one thought, isn't it? So this potentiality of appearance of these thoughts is there, but it has not become manifest yet. The moment it gets manifest, either it can happen at the dream level or it can happen at the waking level. It can happen at the madhyama level or it can happen at the vaikhari level, gross speech level. So that is being told here that just as the cotton seed is containing all the potential of all the cloths within itself as the cotton, similarly the pure consciousness also is containing within itself the potential of all the things and beings which are nothing but trios, nothing but thoughts. Similarly, the pure consciousness contains within itself the multitude of trios without being separated from them. This could be one possible way of understanding the truth.
Trios also experience.
Exactly. Knower, known, knowing, seers, so come from the five senses, then come from the feeler, felt, feeling, then knower, known, knowing, experiencer, experienced, experiencing. You can keep making whatever the three. But we don't feel like this. Right now, what is our feeling? The world is separate to us, isn't it? That all of you are separate to me, therefore I have to talk to you, and you, for your experiences, I am separate to you, so you have to listen to me. But what is the truth? That one truth alone, just like that one self alone expresses as the I thought and the that thought, and the interaction takes place between the two as experiencer, experienced and experiencing. Similarly, that one truth is experiencing as the speaker, and the same truth is expressing as the hearer, the student. That one truth alone is the teacher, that one truth alone is the student. But because because we do not take the right position, we don't consider ourselves as that one. Therefore, the duality appears in front of us, and we get caught up in that phenomenon. See? Now, is it so difficult to understand? No. You yourself become the father, you yourself become the brother, you yourself become the You take so many different roles, isn't it? Are those roles coming from outside somewhere? No. They're, the potential is there within you and it appears. But we have to go one step further. That potential expresses out of you as a father only when the son comes in front of you or the child comes in front of you. The mother comes out of you, which is not other than you, only when the what is that? The kids come. So I'm bringing your attention to that it's already in there and it is coming forth. Exactly the same way. This entire creation is already within your mind, and that mind is within the consciousness, in the unmanifest state. And under the right sets of circumstances, it appears out of the mind, appears out of the consciousness. Because it appears out of the consciousness, it has not got separated from the consciousness. Because the potential of the millions and zillions of waves is already in the waters, and because the waves appear, the waves have not become separated from the water. Without water, they cannot exist. Agree? You are understanding what we are saying? The waves cannot exist without the water. So water is in and through all the waves, supporting all the waves, but yet transcendental to the waves. Similarly, now take it subjective. The entire universe has come out of you, the self. You are in and through the whole universe. You are supporting the whole universe, yet you are untouched by the universe. Why? Because you alone are everything, so what can touch you? You are touching yourself. Can water say, oh, I have to be careful, otherwise I'll get corrupted by a wave? Can water say that? Water is nothing, wave is nothing but the water. So water does not have any fear from any wave, whether it is a gentle one or whether it is a tsunami, whether it is a whirlpool or a gentle lap. It is not afraid of its manifestation. But look at us, we are afraid of our own manifestations. The angry you and the jealous you and the hypocritical you or the judgmental you or we are afraid of our own manifestations. We are afraid of our own words. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Because we are not coming from, our attention is on that which is coming and going. Our attention is not on the self. When our attention on the self, then whatever comes out will be the correct. You will have no doubt about it. Because there will be no mind to have a doubt. See? So this whole universe, yeah, just like the mirror is including all the names, form, distance, time, depth, but actually there is nothing. It's just the screen. But now don't just take it as examples. Take it out of this pure consciousness that I am, this entire universe has come out. And this entire universe is pervaded in and through by this pure consciousness that I am. And because this whole universe is pervaded, this whole universe which seems to be separate from me, you are separate from me, chair is separate from me, America is separate, India is separate, it is only a seeming separation. In reality, I am pervading everything. Without me, it cannot exist. But then our thought goes, oh, if I die, the countries will still continue, the people will still continue, the mountains will still continue, the reverse will still continue, then the question to be asked is, because this is wrong thinking, what is the question that is to be asked? For whom? We are talking about a subjective journey. We are talking about you. For you, will the world exist as you know it now? Once we die? No. So this is a wrong angle of interaction with this information. But how can you say that out of me the whole creation came? When I go away, the creation will continue. For whom? For whom? Nobody has come back and told till now that it has continued for them or not continued for them. See? So, remain. See, now just thinking about this, everything, the mind stops. It's like a wow factor, you know. My God. We can touch it, yet little bit more work is required. More abidance is required. But we can suss it that, yeah, it's like that. That's who I am. Mind could be fighting at this moment. No, how can that be possible? All this is, yeah, but if a great master is saying it must be true, and I think it is there, but so don't allow that but to come. Give it the benefit of the doubt that the more we come to this witnessing consciousness, the more we give zero value to the thoughts erupting in our mind, ideas erupting in our mind, to that extent this revelation will become, we are coming closer to that revelation. Even though it is always revealed, but you will become available to yourself only when you dissociate, when you become quiet in the mind. And that is why it is said, meditate, 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 meditate. So that we become available to ourselves as we are, not as we think we are, but as we are. As we think we are, it will be interaction of I thought and that thought. As we are, when the thoughts do not make any, have any meaning, and the thought aspect of the I drops away, and then we are as we are. See? So that, what does this mean? The individuality has merged into its original self. The moment this individuality merges into its original self or falls back into itself, that very moment, it's like the wave coming to recognize it is the water. That very moment, the experience will be, if it could speak, I am in and through all the waves. Water is the only reality. Wave is, even this much speaking will not be required. In the next OV, another example is given in a further attempt to explain the truth. These are only attempts. Truth cannot be conclusively told through any words. And therefore, the teacher is taking all different types of examples so that we do not form a concept of the truth. Just accept you are that without a thought. That truth. सोनयाचा रवा रवेपणाची ठेवा अवधियाची अवयवा तेणे नभे. The gold remaining as a solid block yet becomes ornaments for all limbs of the body is not possible. Hence, cannot be compared with the self and its creation. It is also not possible to apply the simile of the gold and gold ornaments, because the total gold block does not become an ornament unless it is melted and made into ornaments. Therefore, it can be used before it can be used on the body. So, gold is pervading all the ornaments. Yes, we understand that, but it is not a apt example. Why? It needs to go through a certain process in order to become ornaments. And each ornament with the other is separate. So therefore, it is told it is not an apt example. How difficult it is to define the precise upamana, pramana to explain the truth is stated. What is the right simile, the inference, what example can we give in order to explain the truth? It is very difficult. You can only approach it from different angles, but every angle is limited in it's not a total. Is there one angle which can give you everything together? That cannot be called an angle. Cannot be called an angle. See? So it is very, so Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying it's very difficult to explain. Yet, because my teacher has told me, so I am making an attempt to put it as succinctly as possible. न फेडिता आडवावो दिगंतौ नि दिगंता जावो न ये मा पावो उपमा काई. No one can reach another place without crossing distances, but this cannot be used as a simile because the self is not limited by space. It is not possible to find an exact simile to explain the truth. For example, without leaving the house and crossing distances, one cannot reach any place. In the same way, there is no way of possible giving any upamana to explain this great grand truth. Therefore, the truth is declared as aprameyam, that which cannot become the object of knowledge, because it is the supreme subject itself. Our whole life from birth till now has been a pursuit of objective knowledge. Everything that we see, hear, touch, feel, taste, think, ideate, conceptualize is objective.
You can't even explain the eye. If I was to say to somebody now, what's this eye you're talking about? They couldn't.
They can't.
They come to a stop.
Exactly.
Because
exactly.
everything they add to it is not that. So you can.
So as much.
Wherever you are, there's only eye.
So as much as other people become nonplussed when you ask the question, what is this I? Let the mind be nonplussed when you ask the question to the mind, who is this I that you are, who am I? The mind must get nonplussed. And in that, when the moment we ask the question, it will stop thinking. I can't come to an answer. Immediately fall back into meditation. So it's not about the yes, it is. What you are saying is true about the outside world, that if you ask a person what is this I, nobody can give you a conclusive answer. But here it is not about the world. Here we are talking about, ask this question to your mind. The mind can also not come up with a conclusive answer. And that is what Jnaneshwar Maharaj is showing us, that it cannot come to a conclusive answer. And therefore it is very difficult to put in words. Yes, it is most unique that he has put it in so many, with so many examples. He is giving us clarity about it. We don't need words to have the clarity, because we are the truth. We are the self. But enjoy. Therefore, the truth is declared as aprameyam, that which cannot become the object of knowledge. Therefore, one cannot talk about it, and therefore no simile can be used, for which speech is needed. A second meaning of aprameya is incomparable. Nothing is available to compare the truth with. One of the closest comparisons given in the scriptures about the truth is that it is like space, the solid space. This is the word coined by Jnaneshwar Maharaj. Finding that difficult to explain, it is said that the Paramatma Tattva is full emptiness. Full because it is absolute presence, and emptiness because there is no trace of otherness. How beautiful! How beautiful! Oxymoron. Full emptiness is an oxymoron. Two opposites coming together. It's just so wonderful just to read it.
I tried explaining that full emptiness to somebody once and they looked at me as if I was
You're
ready for the
crazy,
insane
yeah.
asylum.
So thus we see that full because it is full of presence, and emptiness because there is no sense of
Other.
otherness, no sense of duality, there is no sense of dualism. How beautiful. In this way, one struggles in vain to describe the truth through any prameya, through any example. मणौनी ये आत्मलीले नाही आन कांटाळे आता यया चिये तुळे हाची पै. Therefore, there is no proper simile to compare the sport of the self. It can be compared with the self indeed. That means self can be compared with the self alone. There is nothing else outside it other than it because there is nothing.
Sport of the self is Prakriti.
Sport? No, 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 no. If you say Prakriti, then again you are creating the self consciousness and Prakriti, so then there becomes two.
No. It's the Prakriti is the power of God, I believe.
Phenomena.
Phenomena.
Prakriti is the phenomena. What meditation we did today, noumena and phenomenon. From where this thought came, I don't know. सोच रहा था what to noumenon is the inward journey, phenomenon is the that which is changing. Noumenon is the unchanging principle. So that the moment you say Prakriti, then you are bringing your attention is on the changing. But here we are talking about that the self alone is everything.
Yeah, but that is also everything.
What is everything?
Like manifest and unmanifest form.
Manifest and unmanifest is only at the level of mind, not from the self point of view.
Then what is sport of self?
Sport of the self is the play of the self,
Is what?
like the sport of the waters.
No. The sport of the self is
Sport.
creation, isn't it?
Yes, in one way, yes. But you have to, your attention is on the creation right now. But you are seeing creation as creation. We are saying you have to see the creation as the self. Then you will understand it is the sport of the self. You take the position of the waters, and from the waters point of view, the waves are the sport of the waters. There is no purpose, there is no cause, there is no reason, there is no, nothing. It's just out of its bliss. The waves are coming out, appearing and disappearing. And while they are appearing and disappearing, nothing is happening to the waters because waters are as they are. Isn't it? Waters are as they are. Exactly the same way, the self is as it is, and out of this self, as a result of the bliss, the sport of creation is taking place. And what is the sport of creation? What is the creation? The waking world, the dream world, and the deep sleep world.
Isn't that Prakriti.
Yes, it is Prakriti. We have given it for our explanation. But by saying again and again the word Prakriti, we are giving it value.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So right now, where Jnaneshwar Maharaj has brought us is to the core, to that one, and he's saying, this self that you are is sporting it with itself. In that sporting with itself, why is it sporting with itself? That's the only way we can put it in words. In that sporting, the potential starts expressing itself in whichever way. Now, from the self point of view, is there a potential? No, because it alone is. Then who uses the word potential? Who uses the word Ishwar Prakriti? Who uses the word Sattva Rajas Tamas? Who uses the word space, air, fire, water? Earth? The individual. It is for that idiot. For the self, nothing is required because it alone is. समझ रहे हो ना? He's just pulling away everything from you and making us realize that we are that. We can't use the word we. You are that. This whole phenomena, when it was told before that his whole phenomena is pervaded by the self alone, this is the sport of the self. See?
Even it tells you that in the Bible, nothing was made that was not made by him. Because nobody understands it.
Correct. The phenomena appears of its own accord. The self does not will it.
No.
The self does not say that now waking must come, now dream must come, now sleep must come, now space, air, fire, water, earth must come. It does not say that. This type of thinking does not happen in the self because how can self have a mind to think? How can self have a will when it doesn't have a mind?
But it is.
Then where is this phenomena coming from? It's just happening. Because understand the definition of phenomena. What is the definition of phenomena? That which is existing in its own absence. So don't take it to be real. Real is only one. That is the self. हाँ बोलो अभी.
No, there has to be some sequence to all the things because people do predict a lot of things.
Then you study for that sequence. The Sankhya Yoga is there. Jnaneshwar Maharaj has taken us beyond Sankhya Yoga. So understand in the context where we are studying. So sequence is required for a unprepared mind. Sequence is required for the one who is not ready to abide as the self, in the self. He is not taking you through any sequence. He is continuously in every verse, all the OVs that we have seen, is again and again taking you. Is not even taking, he is telling you are that, that's it. He is not even taking you there. When our attention is on the nature, on the matter, then sequence will be there. If an individual is seeking at this moment, sequence will be created. And what is the sequence? From the phenomena come to the noumenon. That is the sequence, from outside to inside. From many thoughts to one thought, from one thought to no thought. This is a sequence, isn't it? But all this, whether you give importance or don't give importance, it does not deny the fact that you are still, isn't it? The self is still there. Whether waking dream and deep sleep experiences are coming and going, it does not stop you from being you, because without the self, these three phenomena cannot come and go. Right or not? And can these three phenomena appear outside the self? No. Now, right now, the intellect is trying to grasp. It's trying to create some order in what it has heard. But self is not an order. Self is not a concept. How can that one, without losing itself, become the waker, dreamer and deep sleeper? While the waker, dreamer and deep sleeper are expressing, how can the self remain as the self? Get there and find out. Get there and find out. Be that and find out. Not even get there. Be there and find out. Be that and find out.
You know when you said that the self does not say to itself, oh, I'll make an apple now, or I'll create a world or a river or something. Not doing that. That also says that in the Bible where God created the world and looked around and he says to himself, this is good. He didn't know it was good before he started. He had to look around it. So, you know, but, you know,
So
when
very
people
similar
see
thoughts.
these things,
Very
yeah,
similar thoughts.
he's not thinking, the way you explained it is how I would think it was, but the Bible says it in such a way.
They have doctored it, maybe, I don't know.
Why do they tell stories like that? Why don't they tell them how it is?
It's a, see, this knowledge is very powerful. It can be used and misused.
Yeah?
Yes. There are great masters, people in our mythology, Puranas. Many incidents are there, many great people are there who have studied all this and used this knowledge for wrong purposes.
No. No.
Because as you keep coming closer to the core, the power of the universe comes to you. Now, and somewhere you become objective in your pursuit. Power is there, but now you want to conquer, not abide in the self, but with that power you want to conquer the world. You want to exhibit the power that you have, because power corrupts. And that is why in our Vedas, in the Bible, everywhere, it is written in this cryptic form or in a secret, they say secret coded language. So those who are ready to, what do you call, say that decode it, they will be able to. But here we are not into coding and decoding. Here we are talking about being the one, and that's it. And taking this whole phenomena of the universe. Because when I say phenomena of the universe, right now we are only in the waking plane. There is a phenomena of the world in the dream also. And there is a phenomena of no world in the deep sleep also. All this is nothing but the self.
In the deep sleep, we pervade over everything. Sorry, in the dream state. We are all pervading. Because everyone is me alone.
After waking up, you realize that, not while dreaming. After waking up, when we talk about it, we can very clearly, easily come to that conclusion that other than me becoming many, it is, and I was watching that. The same way, in the waking, from the waking dream, we have to wake up to realize that even in the waking world, I alone am expressing. That's all. For that, the focus cannot be the phenomena. The focus has to be the self. Then alone it will happen.
We're witnessing the dream, so if we witness the waking state, we have to witness the waking state also.
We are witnessing the dream, and when we come to the class, we realize the dream was not outside of me,
No.
it was within me. I alone had become everything in the dream.
Yes. Same the waking state.
And so is also true in the waking state.
Yes.
But for that, Right now we are giving ourselves oh, it happened in the dream, then it must be here. But it is not my experience right now.
No.
Because of our uh, because of our objectivity, we want to experience what we experienced in dream, that oh, I woke up, so I want to wake up now.
Yes, that's right.
Objectively I cannot wake up.
No. That's it.
It's like being in the waking, I want to wake up. How can you wake up? You have to you have to give up this waking in order to wake up. But that we are not ready to do. So there are very, very subtle nuances there, and we have to, only when we contemplate like this, they come that where our mind is caught up. So we'll take this 266 verse in our next class. 1 hour dose is enough. It was beautiful today. मजा आ गया. Anandam, Paramanandam.
Is there a danger in becoming the witness and watching all the things going on without you? You could
There
use
is
that for good reason.
There is no danger in being a witness.
No.
But on your journey to being the witness, as you come closer to witness, you have not become witness yet, but as you come closer to witness, the mind becomes more and more powerful. And lot of people, without completing the journey, they have come to this idea of they have got the experience of powerful mind, and then something enters them, and they want to use that power to conquer the
So
world.
what comes in to make them want to use that? This is evil, so-called, but I mean, why does it change to that?
Because of their old habit of objectivity.
They're not developed out of that stage.
Maybe they don't have a proper teacher, maybe they have not come to understand what the final goal is, that they are still objectifying the subject, and they want to grossly, okay, the self is already that, then why not as the body I can conquer be all that. So as the body they want to be the master of the world, which is then it leads to in that direction. They want to control other people's mind, they want to influence other people's mind. But all these possibilities are there. The more mind calms down, this potential in the mind, the powers in the mind will automatically start appearing.
Cities.
Siddhis.
It can be a
Yeah.
temptation.
That can become a temptation. For an unprepared seeker, that can become a temptation. For Sai Baba, it was not a temptation. He was a Purna Purusha. He had all the siddhis, all the powers, yet he was beyond it. See? Otherwise, he could have used that to heal himself. He didn't. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.